This is Listening with Franklin Livingston, and our guest is Marie-Catherine Massie.
Hello, friends. Today we have Marie Catherine. No, Catherine.
Marie-Catherine.
Marie-Catherine. I don't know. I can ever learn French. So, Marie-Catherine.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Welcome. She's a filmmaker. She's an actor.
Yes.
And you have done a lot more than that. So I would let you tell your story. But how was your ride? You
My
drove
ride?
all the way from Brooklyn.
Yeah. You said it was only going to be an hour, and I actually left 2 hours in advance.
Okay, don't trust me. If I say it's only gonna be an hour, that's usually when I drive. But
I mean, I don't know if you can drive on top of traffic, because that was a lot of traffic. Just getting out of the city was most of the ride.
Right.
Yeah. But
No, I try to drive or go into Brooklyn when I know there's no rush hour.
oh yeah.
So the other night, when I went, because I don't know, I might have told you that, hey, I was there yesterday.
yeah.
So I was there in an hour and I was back in 45 minutes. But it was after 8 p.m.
Yeah, that's probably why. Yeah, I should have taken the train, but I know for next time.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. 2
Oh,
hours. You were in the car for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I hate being late. And
Yeah.
it says it's supposed to be like an hour and 15 minutes.
Mhm.
So I left at 8 and I was just like, okay, like I'm not going to be late. And then I had to call you and say that I was going to be late.
It's all right. As long as you were safe, because I-95 could be very dangerous. Yeah. And people drive crazy. And we have been talking about driving habits a lot on this show. Why are people so crazy?
Especially as a Canadian, like it's really, really hard for me to drive in New York. Like, so.
Oh, yeah, she's a Canadian. You're from Montreal, right?
Yeah, I'm from
Okay,
Montreal.
cool.
But I was based in Vancouver, British Columbia for 9 years. So, I feel very close to West Coast. Yeah, it's a dear city.
Have you driven in California?
Yes, I drove all the way from Vancouver all the way down to Mexico once. Yeah.
How's that? Different than New York? Or?
Well, it's mostly highways, but we did the 101, this highway that is like directly on the ocean.
No, I don't.
No? Okay.
No.
So like you can either do I-5, which is like kind of like a regular highway, or you can do like the 101, which is literally like on the coast.
Mm.
So you can see like wildlife, but also like beach to beach, little coffee shops. It's super slow. It's not like, a fast highway,
Yeah.
but it's a beautiful road trip to do. Did with an ex-partner at the time, and we were like with the campers, so just kind of like camping along the way. That was
Partner,
really
like romantic boyfriend?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Just making sure it wasn't like you were running an agency of sorts with a partner, right?
No,
Oh.
like a romantic partner.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
at the time, yeah.
Great. So you were you born in Montreal or Vancouver?
I was born in Quebec. So I was born in a city called Drummondville.
Okay, I have been to a couple of cities, but I wouldn't remember that. And the biggest thing is, as I can't say your name properly, the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. So Drummondville is like a place that I don't know much about because I moved. Like I've never really been there. It's just like kind of where I was born. But I'd say like it's kind of like a smaller city, but it's still like a city. And it might be something like an hour and a half from Montreal to just situate you.
And Montreal is the larger or the significant city of Quebec?
It's the biggest city, yeah. But our capital is like Quebec City. It's older. So like if you ever have the chance to go there, like and walk around, it's very pretty. It's over 400 years old, So like it's the architecture there is beautiful.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to. I don't think I knew what's the best season to go there. Last time I went, I think it was March or April, and it was extremely cold, and I got ill because of sinusitis and all that stuff, and yeah, it was not good.
Where did you go? Montreal?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, like so I would suggest to go like in the spring or the summer. We have like amazing festivals. We have a really rich like cultural scene.
Oh,
But it's true that like I was just on the phone with my mom yesterday and she was like, yeah, it's gonna be -7. I'm speaking Celsius.
oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry, you have to
Yeah.
translate it in Fahrenheit.
You guys have Google, right? So do that, please.
Yeah, she said next week it's supposed to like go back like under 32, like I don't know, it's probably something like 20, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, like March can be like pretty brutal still in Canada. April is like spring, and you know, eventually we have some but the weather in Vancouver, I don't know if you know that, but it's completely different. So for me, I completely lost my resistance to the cold because Vancouver is like Seattle.
Mm.
So for 6 months out of the year, it rains. So from October to May, it just rains, rains, rains. And it's always warm. It's always like 60s. So you're in your jean jacket and it's raining in the winter.
60s Fahrenheit?
Yes, I was
Okay.
translating for you.
Okay, thank you. All right.
If it's 60 Celsius, it's
Yeah.
very, very hot.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because I think it's 50. No, yesterday it was 55, but I was thinking
Yeah.
still it could be warmer. It's not that.
I
So,
know.
yeah. But
Yeah,
that's great. I mean, 60 is better than 30.
Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
And I personally don't mind the rain, you know, as long as you have like a good rain jacket, good rain pants, rain boots. Just go out, go hiking. Probably,
Hiking in the rain?
yeah,
Do you also dance in the rain?
sometimes.
Okay. Because some people I have heard, they have a particular relationship with the rain. They enjoy standing in the rain and then walking in the rain, dancing in the rain. I don't think I can do that. I have a fear I might get sick.
Yeah, I don't know. I've done it so much. So, in an ancient life, I used to be a
Ancient life?
yes.
When you were an alien?
Yeah.
What star was that? A planet?
It was when I was living in British Columbia. I used to be a tree planter.
Yes. I know
So
that, yeah.
doing reforestation, and basically like you work in all type of weather. And if it rains, if it snows, if it's sunny, you're always working. So I don't know, like I think eventually you get so used to like being in the pouring rain for like 10 straight hours that it doesn't really matter anymore, you know?
Yeah. That becomes almost a second habit to you,
Yeah.
or a lifestyle of sort, if you will.
It was definitely a lifestyle. It's a lot of my friends are still doing it. It's more a lifestyle than it is a job, and I miss it dearly
Mm.
because yeah, it's really nice to be in the forest all the time and be away from society and not have service. Oh my god, I enjoyed not having my phone for so long.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the rain, yeah, for me it's poetic even. I love falling asleep to the sound of the rain.
Wow. Do you have a thing? Like, I think I have a digital clock. It comes with those sounds, although I don't use it.
Really?
But yeah, I know that it's just can if you close your eyes and try to take a nap or something, it can take you into that mood and environment you can imagine.
Okay.
And
I
yeah,
should try that. Yeah.
sure, yeah, you should. There might be a free thing on your YouTube or
Yeah.
iPhone or whatever. This is an iPhone. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
So cool. Great. So you grew up in Canada. And
Yes.
earlier, before we rolled the camera, we were talking about multiculturalism.
Yes.
So you grew up more French in
Yes.
Canada? So you're a French Canadian?
Yes, I am French Canadian.
Both of your parents are French Canadians?
Yeah. Yes.
So there's no diversity there?
I mean,
Kidding. Sorry.
they're both very different. I actually, I don't know as much about my dad because I only met my dad when I was 19. So, but yeah, I know a little bit from their family from like meeting them a few times. But on my mom's side, I think the origins or Irish in perhaps Italian a little bit. And I know we have First Nation mixed in there at some point, and definitely like French from France, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the neighborhood you grew up in, or the community you grew up in, was that all French Canadian?
Yes, but I moved so much that, you know, and we also spent so much time in Montreal.
Mhm.
So my family was very like interested in like other cultures. So from a very young age, I was used to like go, because for Quebecers back in my days, it was not very common, but
Mm.
we'd go like eat Sichuan food when like everyone would only like go eat like Chinese food, which is kind of like the equivalent of and then we'd go like to different neighborhoods, like the Greek neighborhood and the Italian neighborhood, and like my family would share like food and culture with me. So it's always been something that was kind of like part of me growing up. Like we were like definitely open to other
Mm.
cultures.
So it wasn't more like New York. Like New York has pockets where you'd see, okay, these are Greek. I think Astoria once, there's a street I went with someone, and I think they were all Greek or Turkish.
Yeah.
And then there are Russian areas, then there are Indian areas, and there are Arab areas.
Mhm.
Is it like that?
Montreal is a little bit like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's true that like in Quebec, if you go, I think now it's a little different. Like I've moved there like 10 years ago. So like I from there. So I'm not sure exactly how it is now. But back then, like outside of the city was very, very like Caucasian, like very like French Canadian. As soon as you went to the city, then you had all those wonderful communities that like had little pockets, as you say,
Mhm.
together,
Mhm.
and like would, have the richness of their culture and was
Mhm.
able to like, kind of communicate and like share with other people.
So, after moving to New York, what is the biggest difference you see in Montreal or British Columbia and New York?
I need to find a way to say that without being Canadian people are so sweet and so nice. And I guess like
From inside, actually, nice.
yeah, and I'm not saying like there's so many nice Americans and there's so many nice New Yorkers. I don't want to say that. But I guess driving was like a big deal. Like in Vancouver, if you put one street in like one foot in the street, the whole traffic stops.
Mm.
Like it's very like so I have to like get used to drive like a cowboy. And also like going in the subway, I've never been that hellbowed in my life. I
It's elbow. Oh, elbowed. Okay, yeah.
because I used
Get out of my way! Yeah.
I used to do martial arts, and I feel that I've been hit more on the New York subway than I've been doing
Yeah,
actually
well,
martial arts. Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely like a different culture where like it's kind of like go go go. So I'd say Canada is very like different. Like living in Quebec and living in Vancouver was very very different. Vancouver is very like West Coast, so it's very like chill. Like we go to the mountain, we have a beer on the beach. Like it's kind of a more relaxed lifestyle. Quebec as well. So, but I just don't want everyone to think that everything is the same. For example, Toronto is very New York. It's very go go go. It's like very like hustle culture. Like
People are rude too.
they're not rude. They're just like colder. I'd say like Quebec.
So no one elbows you.
No.
Okay. And when you say cold, so what does that mean?
Well, Quebecers are like very warm,
Or-
they're very like inclusive. So like when there's like new people coming, like they're gonna be like, oh, you're part of the family, like
Mhm.
let's go have a drink. Where like in Toronto, it's a bit harder to make friends,
Mm.
I'd say.
Mm.
Yeah. But I haven't spent that much time in Toronto. I've only been for work like 10 times maybe. So
Mm.
I wouldn't say that I'm the
But you were
expert.
able to make a distinction between both
Yes.
these cultures, subcultures.
Yeah.
And no, this is something interesting. When I went to Quebec,
Yeah.
unless it was just the bad time of the year because the masks were still on and it was extremely cold. So my first impression was, why don't they smile? Because people don't always. So you walk up to a hotel's reception, and it doesn't matter what the skin color is because it
Yeah.
was diverse still.
Yeah.
But they don't overly smile. Welcome, how are you? What can I get you? And all that. So I wasn't sure that's a culture or I just went at a wrong time or wrong season.
I think like if you went during COVID, like I know it was really hard on my province because I know they had like very harsh like lockdowns, and I think people like were very very tired of like I think at some point they had a curfew for like 8 months.
Wow.
So I guess like maybe the morale was not there.
Mm.
Quebec City is supposed to be like a bit more close to other culture, but I heard that this is changing and like they're being like more inclusive, especially now that Canada has like so much more immigration than it used to. And I know that they like people used to think that speaking English in Quebec was like kind of the worst thing.
Worse in a way. For example, it's not our national language and we should stick to French, like that kind of worse thing? Or, hey, we are not good at English?
More that, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. It's a very complicated question and we could do a separate podcast about
Okay,
it.
great. All right. Languages of Canada.
So it's a bilingual country. It's French and English.
Throughout Canada.
It's the official languages on paper,
Mm-hmm.
right? In Quebec, the main language is French. And then like in the rest of Canada, it is English, but there's like very big communities of like French speakers in Manitoba, in British Columbia, and on the East Coast. Like it's very diverse. But it's not necessarily like mandatory. Like no one is forced to speak like one language or another, unless like you're an employee from the government, for example. You need to be able to be bilingual.
So Justin Trudeau, he's bilingual?
Oh yeah, he is.
Oh, he can? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I never heard more than 2 sentences ever.
In French or English?
In English, because of the news. So when I watch news, I
Yeah.
only look at the headlines or clips.
Yeah.
So I never saw him speaking French ever, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, it's his first language.
Hmm.
He's French Canadian.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Relative?
No.
Friend? Okay.
He said to not speak about politics.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. No, it's Canadian politics is fine. But
Okay.
I didn't say Justin is great or he's bad, right? I'm just talking about his background.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I it's just like it made me laugh because so my grandpa was a very passionate like separatist. He was like like very passionate about Quebec separating from the rest of Canada, which is a whole other subject that we can talk about. But he hated Trudeau's father.
Oh, Trudeau's father was also a politician?
Yeah, he was a prime minister as well. I think in the 70s or 80s. I would have to look that up. I don't.
She was born with a silver spoon. Okay.
No. I don't know, but I just know that like growing up, like all my grandpa was talking about was how much like he hated because they're liberals, you know, and he was all like Bloc Québécois and he was all, you know, for Parti Québécois because he wanted Quebec independence and he was like so passionate about it. So yeah, I definitely grew up in a house where there was a lot of politics being discussed.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very common in the US too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think depends. The older generation, I think mostly I know, they would definitely talk about politics
Yeah.
when you eat lunch or dinner. Especially if it's a Sunday thing, you just talk about politics or football.
I thought he was not supposed to talk about politics.
Oh,
In the rules, isn't that like don't talk about politics, sex, and religion at the table?
yeah, there are a lot of rules we have, but
Yeah.
do we really follow those?
Yeah. What's really interesting with like Americans, I feel like you guys have like two parties, right? So it's like very like polarized on like one side or the other. Like I think we have like 5 main parties with like elected people. So like when I first moved here, I thought it was like a huge difference. That it's kind of like you're one side or the other.
Yeah, I think it's an unfortunate reality because we have such a black and white belief system, and our belief system is more rooted in politics than religion. That's what my understanding is, and that's why you see the division even in the church, let's say Christian world, right? So you'll see these more denominational churches. They'll be considered liberal because their belief system is more aligned. I don't think they are that liberal as the political party, but still, you would always stamp people liberal versus conservative. Same with the movies.
Yeah.
The movies, depending like the kind of movies I make, so you would always aim to make it neutralized, but still your audience will end up your friends first of all. Oh yeah, I saw that movie. Yeah, that has some sort of liberal themes in it, or oh yeah, that has some conservative stuff going on there because that's so embedded in us, I think.
Yeah, no, for
And
sure.
same with news channels. Some people don't watch a particular channel, the other group does not watch the other particular channel. And there's a
But is that healthy? Like, I think I don't know. I try to like watch both sides to like kind of understand like both point of views.
healthy for whom? People who make money? Yes, of course.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, if you as a citizen are trying to like stay informed, like, isn't it important to like see what each side has to say, so at least you can understand, even if they're your political opponent, you know?
I think one of the things that's missing in today's America is the lack of listening. It's a very strong statement I ended up making, but that's why I was talking to different friends when we were thinking what should we the show's name, and first we thought a different name, then we came up another name. So this is a third name, listening with, right? So let's listen together
Mm-hmm.
because if you watch these news channel, most of the time, first of all, I unsubscribed to my back in the day we had cable,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
right?
Mhm.
Because I thought it's a wasted of time because you listen to one channel and then you listen to the other channel and try to draw your conclusions. But if both the channels are just fulfilling their own dream or agenda, or just they have some sort of ulterior motive,
Mm-hmm.
then the problem is you're still not getting the truth. Instead, they're playing with your emotions, and that's what has been happening in my
Mhm.
view. Uh, so, for an average American, it's not healthy because a person who works 10 hours a day, and then some people commute longer. You know, there are some people who take Metro North from Connecticut to New York City, some come from New York City to Connecticut, and some people drive like Connery drives an hour and a half to get here. But if the traffic is worse, then it can take 2 hours or 2.5 hours. So we wrap at 6, and then he'll do some DIT work, sending files and all that. By the time he gets home, do you think he would really want to listen to A and B and try to draw his conclusion, which is a very sad thing.
Mhm.
But that's what has been happening. So my idea was, let's talk about our beliefs. Because when we have certain beliefs, that makes us more open to, say, diversity.
Mhm.
And that generates values among us.
Mhm.
Your household, as you mentioned, you would go, I'm assuming your mom would take you to different ethnic neighborhoods. So you could experience the culture or food or trends or gestures, right? So you're open and more learned about that, learned. So that makes you someone who could survive in any environment and stronger. And you have done so much from planting trees and all that stuff we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
And also, it gives you a particular kind of confidence because now your mom is not with you, but whatever she taught you directly or indirectly
Mm-hmm.
and made you able to relate to different kinds of people, that's the strength no one can take from you. Right? And even being considerate, like driving habits we were talking about. Um, and that starts from when you think or begin thinking as a leader, or when, as a community member, you begin thinking, is my neighbor, and I'm using neighbor symbolically, like it's used in more Christian world. So, is my neighbor healthy? And health is not only physical, it's mental health, emotional health, psychological health, spiritual health. And you know the world we live in. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people, they are not doing great because instead of being a tool for comfort and healing and enforcing some sort of positivity, a lot of us just go in the negative direction. And I don't know if you ever got cursed at while driving in New York City, but that's also very common, right?
Yes, it is.
And other things too, like a couple of times I ran into a really weird situation. Like once a guy just cleared his throat and just he spat, and that spit came on me.
No.
And that's just because he could do that, and he knew no one cares, and he was like, "Hey, yeah, sorry about that." And but did he really mean like he was sorry? He felt bad? No, he just used a phrase like a lot of people use when you're getting in and out of the subway. They will push you or elbow you, as you would say, and they'll say sorry about that. So, are they really sorry?
No.
That's just a phrase, a common phrase, and we are so used to using this common phrase. Sorry about your loss. There was a phrase I used to hear in the Midwestern states a lot: holding you up in my prayers, or you're in my thoughts and prayers. But is that a real prayer? Or a lot of times these kids will be playing a video game and or like somebody passed away and they will type on the phone, okay, sorry about the loss, or like holding you up in my prayers. And the intent is not there. It becomes a shallow ritual. It's a ritual that you're supposed to do and say. So this fight, instigated by media or politicians or community leaders, that actually empowers them, feeds them financially and otherwise. But an average man and a woman is just not healthy for them. Sorry, that was a long answer to your question, but
no, that's really interesting because yeah. But my other question for you is: would you say that politics in America are very tied to religion?
Yes, and no. I would say, depending on what party are you talking about. Mostly conservatives in the US, and I was not thinking of becoming a religion or political analyst, but hey, she asked me this question, I'm going to reply. So, if you have any beef to pick with, she's the one. So, conservatives come from a very Christian background, mostly evangelicals. Interestingly, when you see the denominationalism in the US, which is Roman Catholic Church or Methodist Church or Presbyterian Church, Baptist, these big churches.
By the way, that's all fascinating for me because I was not raised as a Christian.
I know that.
So like it's super, I find it very complicated that there's like so many different church, and learning about it and trying to learn about like, you know, being an American now, and like, it's just like, sometimes it feels that they're all different religion, even if it's kind of the same religion.
These institutions have presented themselves to appear to be so different because in that manner they can have more congregants. It's again a competition, a tussle, a conflict, or winning more people because again, these institutions are funded by people. Right? So there's money involved in religion. And so these churches that are more, we call them the historical tradition that has like centuries ago, like Roman Catholicism and then John Calvinist from Scotland, Lutheranism comes from German background, Methodism that comes from English and then the US. And then there are churches. So these churches are, some people are conservative, some people are not. But when the other interesting thing is, you might have a conservative family or individual belonging to one of this church. They might not fit the framework, political framework of being a conservative.
Okay.
Right? Because political framework becomes extremely black and white. For example, in this church, someone might be a conservative, but might not like the humiliation or degradation or some sort of political subjugation of another human being. Whereas the government might be on a different spectrum. They might think it's okay because that's what we are doing as a government. So there's a bit disconnect there. But when it comes to the evangelical churches, evangelicalism has changed over the period of time. So right now, a lot of churches are non-denominational. They might have very generic names. They might not. So, for example, if you have a let's say microphone church in New York City, so you might not find microphone church in Louisiana, or so it might not be the same title, but their belief system will be the same. And those are the churches that are very aggressive when it comes to US politics. And they would call themselves very proudly conservatives. And their belief system is then also very black and white. So those as an example. I know it's already a controversial example, but if abortion is an issue,
Yeah.
so for them, there will not be any grace, any middle ground. It has to be extreme, banned, versus then the liberal side will say allowed, right? So
But even-
there's that butt heading, there's a conflict, ongoing conflict.
Even if it's like, for example, dangerous for the mother or
No, because see, that becomes an issue of well-being. So where you're going is that will be more denominations that are considered in the US liberal. They might have that grace, the middle ground to think, what if it takes someone's life? What if there's a room? But the conservative side will be extremely black and white, either or. And the same principle is applied to global wars. For example, when we are in war, so then if somebody says, what if children of the other group we are fighting with, right, attacking? So when you're attacking, you don't think of the other group's children or innocent lives. You just think they are our enemy. It doesn't matter. There's an infant kid or there's an old man, woman. So that becomes a very black and white. So that's the most of the denominations, that are not labeled as denomination, because they don't have an infrastructure where there will be a bishop or a pope. It's more generic, but they share the similar kind of belief system.